I broke my ankle.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What were you doing?
I was walking through a yard.
No, you weren't.
It just snapped.
What's up, everybody? My name is Adam, and I'm the host of the UKnowAdamTsang podcast, the show that is dedicated on bringing on passionate people, learning about their stories, and delivering value to entrepreneurs. So if that's what you're interested in, go ahead and follow, like, and subscribe. You know what I'm saying?
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the UKnowAdamTsang podcast, where you get to know just a little bit more about people, passions, and all things business. Today, sitting across the way, I have Miss Mindy Fair, the best personal trainer in Statesboro. And I'm so excited to have you on the show because what you've done is you've taken a personal passion of yours and turned it to multiple different streams of income. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, Mindy, I have to ask, what does it take to become the best trainer in Statesboro?
Oh, goodness. Well, I feel like I have a lot of experience.
Okay.
I started teaching group fitness when I was 18.
Okay.
And loved it. I love connecting with people. And I think a lot of it has to do with, people come to me because they have a goal, some kind of health goal, whether it's get stronger or lose weight or get ready for an event, whatever that may be. And so I feel like I have helped a lot of people do that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I have to kind of ask, at 18,
Mm-hmm.
Where were you training at?
It was Gold's Gym back in the day.
In Statesboro, Georgia?
Yes.
Fantastic. So you are what they call a local.
I'm an OG.
OG. Gold's Gym. Gold's Gym, for those that, Statesboro lore, I believe was in that plaza where Orchid is, right? That's where kind of everything started. Was that the first gym in Statesboro?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And how was that experience?
I started working out there in high school.
Okay.
So some friends and we would go and work out together. And then I had another friend that started teaching group fitness. And I thought, well, I'll do it too. And we just, it was nice because you would go and work out and get paid to work out. And so that's really how it started. It was probably more for vain purposes back then.
Yeah.
But it became a lifestyle.
I love that.
So, yeah.
Were you always into fitness even back in the day?
When I was younger, no. I mean, I did dance and I played softball for a minute.
What position?
Oh gosh, I don't even remember.
Oh, come on, don't do that.
It was bad. It was bad. It was very short-lived. So I don't think of myself really as I guess I am an athlete, but I didn't consider myself an athlete. And then when I got older, so we started running. Some friends and I that lived in the neighborhood, we would run. Where I used to live was across from the hospital.
Okay.
So we'd run down Fair Road to Wendy's and back, and that was 3 miles.
Okay.
And that's really how we got started. So I ran track and cross country when I was in high school.
Wow.
So.
And then you started getting into the gym. Saw there that there was an opportunity to kind of, lead classes. And, were you nervous during that first class? Did you feel it? Oh, you were?
Yes.
What was the activity? Because, I know that, fitness it's always moving, right? There's always new things on the horizon. What were the classes back then?
It was a lot of cardio.
Cardio?
So, this is going to date me, but think Jane Fonda where they're jumping around and doing jacks and, honeys. And now we call it high-intensity interval training.
Okay.
But then that was the whole class.
Gotcha.
You were doing, or step aerobics where you're stepping up and down on the step and you're.
There's a board, right? And then you're kind of getting on and off. And I think that to a certain extent that still exists.
Right.
Today.
Hip hop step is really popular today.
Got you.
Yeah.
And can you take me back to that first class? Talk to me about emotions that were kind of running.
I'm pretty sure that my voice was shaking and I'm pretty sure that I was probably red. But and back, it's now you face the class when you're teaching. Back then, you had your back to them.
Interesting.
But I was on a little stage and facing the mirror, and they're all with me with their steps. And I mean, we just kind of did it. I don't even know if it was any good, but they asked me to come back, so it couldn't have been that terrible.
How many people were in the class?
They had a pretty big group fitness rooms. There was probably 20 in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
For your first class.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
But I had been taking classes, so I knew a lot of the people.
Okay.
So a lot of them were like, Mindy, you got this. Come on, let's go. So,
Uh-huh.
that was nice because it wasn't a bunch of strangers.
That's right.
So.
And kind of, when you finished your first class coming off the stage,
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember kind of like what emotions
Total relief.
were? Total relief.
I was like, I did it. Okay, if I did it once, I can do it again.
That's amazing.
But yeah.
And then I'm assuming that was there any kind of like sudden, like, something went off in your head, like, I love this, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and you have to be certified. So
Okay.
I got certified to teach. You have to have your CPR certification.
Wow.
So I got that. And, that was just the beginning.
In this day and age, I think fitness has become something of a very popular thing that a lot of people enjoy doing.
Mm-hmm.
And to a certain extent, maybe oversaturated, to say the least. There's a lot of different coaches out there.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, was it just as competitive where everybody wanted to potentially like coach and lead classes?
I think it was a little different.
Okay.
I don't think it was as competitive then. And things have changed so much because back then everything was so cardio focused. Now, we're really realizing that we've got to prioritize strength training because you've got to build muscle. And especially, women and men, as we age, we lose muscle mass. So that has definitely changed. I also think that with social media and, the internet, there's so many people that, they do it online.
Yeah.
Or they sell programs that you can buy their program. Maybe not as much one-on-one. So it just depends on the person. There's so many different aspects that you can dive into.
That's right.
But yeah, I do think more and more people are getting into fitness and health and wellness just because we're realizing that it's needed.
Absolutely.
And for most of us, we love it. That's why we do it.
I love that. So talk to me, you get to the gym, you start kind of like doing these classes, and then kind of like what happens next? What's the next kind of like big thing that happens for you in this journey?
Well, I moved to Charlotte, and I taught at a bunch of different gyms there. So that was kind of cool because I had a lot of different gyms. So I could, each gym has its own personality.
Sure.
So like one was a women's gym, and one was a YMCA, and one was, like a big box gym, like a Gold's gym. And so that gave me an opportunity to kind of learn and do new things. I also got spin certified while I was there. So
Okay.
I started teaching cycle classes. So then I hung out there for almost 3 years. Then I was like, you know what? I'm really ready to go home. So I came back and started my personal training business.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. How was Charlotte during that time?
I loved it there. There was a lot to do. It was great to get out of Statesboro for a minute. And when I left, I was like, I'm never coming back. And then I got there and I was like, I kind of miss my family and I kind of miss home. So I guess I'm going back. But it was a good decision.
I love that. So, I connect with that story as well. I spent some time in California, and afterwards, I made the decision to come back because I saw, Statesboro as great opportunity, right? You mentioned that, there was family that you were missing. Was there anything else that kind of like pulled you back into the area?
The beach.
The beach.
Yes.
How far is
So
Charlotte?
Charlotte was like 4 hours from the beach. There's a lake there, but you have to have a friend with a boat. So I was missing the beach, and being able to be at the beach in an hour.
Yeah.
You can't beat that. That's my happy place.
Gotcha. So the beach brought you back to the borough.
Yes.
When you started your personal training business, how challenging was that?
Well, that's a funny story. So I had another friend that was going to people's homes and training them, and a lot of the people that she was training I knew because we had grown up in the same church together, and so I knew a lot of them. And she was wanting to get out because she was having babies and life was just changing, and so she was like, "Here, take these clients."
How many clients were there?
I want to say, we'll just say 10.
10.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not, a great start. Yes, a great start. Not a huge clientele, and we built it from there. And a lot of those people I still train today.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Why do they come back to you?
Because they love me.
Hey.
No, I think it's just the connection, and we try to mix it up. Like every so often I'll go and get a new certification or go to a conference just to mix things up because, you never want to be bored.
Yeah.
And there's so many different things that you can do these days. Like I'm also bar certified, which is very focused on core and glutes and lower body and, kind of ballet moves, but I'm not graceful. So mine is more of like athletic bar.
Uh-huh.
And then we do some boxing. We just mix it all up just so we're never bored. It's never the same.
That's right. Talk to me about, so you've seen kind of like the landscape of Statesboro as a community change through the years under fitness, right?
Yeah.
And it has kind of like made different movements and different changes. Give me a little bit of that history, right? What, in your eyes, what has changed for Statesboro?
We definitely have a lot more fitness centers, whether that's gyms, studios. There's a lot more to choose from. And I think that's a good thing because competition is good. It keeps us on our toes. I also tell my clients, if you're doing a workout and you absolutely hate it, then do something else. Like find something that you like so that you'll stick with it. Because if you hate it, you're not going to stick with it, and you're not going to get results if you don't stick with it.
That's right.
Yeah.
You talk a lot about your clients, and from what I can tell, your clients absolutely adore you. What about your training? Because training is a lot about pushing people to the limit, right? Like how hard can you get someone to get to that point?
Right.
And how do you kind of approach that, right? Like what tips or tricks would you advise your clients in being able to kind of stick through and push through the end? Because I actually hear a lot of what you said about find something that you enjoy doing. But the enjoy doing doesn't mean that you're just like walking on the treadmill
right.
at
2.0.
Yeah, like that
speed it up.
That doesn't do anything for
right.
you, right?
Right.
So how do you kind of connect with your clients on that level?
Well, I'm a natural encourager. So I encourage them, but I also remind them, look, you're here to work. So I try not to call people out. I do a lot of group training. So a lot of times I'll just remind them, look, you've got 10 seconds. This is because we do a lot of intervals, like we'll time it. And so it's 45 seconds, and then they have like a 10-second break to get to the next thing. And so I'll tell them, 10 seconds, this is your time to push. Let's go. And, they know, okay, I came to work out. Yes, let's get it done, but let's not go through the emotions. Because I'll tell them, I'm like, come on, guys. Like, I know it's Monday, but let's go. You've got this.
That's right.
So just reminding them why they're there.
What advice would you have for somebody that's trying to get into this industry?
Find your lane. There's so many different aspects of it. You can be a personal trainer. You can be a strength trainer. You can be a group fitness instructor. You can do so many different things. For me, my lane is women's health. That has, not that I can't help guys get healthy too, but mainly women is my focus. And so I think you have to figure out like what your niche is. We have different trainers at the gym, and one is really great with mobility, and another one is really great with strength coaching. So people have to find their specific niche, like what they want to focus on.
I think this is great advice, not only for somebody that's in health and wellness, but also just overall.
Right.
Because in business, there's so many different areas that you can cover.
Right.
Finding something that that you align with and also enjoy.
Yes.
I love the fact that you are doing a lot of women's fitness, and what has that led to, like, in terms of opportunities for you?
Well, I also have a business with Arbonne, which is multi-level marketing, and I started that years ago. But all of it works together because it's all health and wellness. So, a lot of my, personal training and group fitness clients are also Arbonne clients because we have, nutrition, we have skincare, we have things that it's all focused on mind and body. And that's really what I work on with my clients, like even in fitness, because I'll tell them, they're wanting to get in shape or lose weight, and they're walking around saying, I'm so fat, I'm so out of shape. And I'm like, you can't say that anymore because if you keep telling yourself that, that's what you're going to keep getting. So even though it sounds crazy, you have to say, I'm in the best shape of my life. I am fit and firm, or, whatever the affirmation is. But I remind them that they've got to, be nice to themselves.
Positivity.
Yeah. I'm like,
right?
would
That's
you
the
say that
core.
to your best friend? Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So treating oftentimes we are tougher on ourselves than we are on other people.
Yeah.
There's a few things in here that I want to kind of like cover, and you mentioned Arbonne.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get involved with multi-level marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Multi-level marketing has oftentimes this really negative connotation around it.
Mm-hmm.
I have some experience in that realm, but I wanted to hear a little bit about your story and how you got involved in that program.
One of my clients actually told me about it.
Okay.
And at first I was like, ew, no, I would never do that.
What were you thinking in your mind?
I thought it was like, I don't know, I guess I thought of like the Avon lady or the Tupperware lady where they're running around and here's your Tupperware. Here's, I don't know, door to door or something. I didn't really know what it was. And she said, Mindy, you would be really good at this. It goes right along with what you're doing with personal training. People are going to use, protein and vitamins and things like that anyway. Why not introduce them to a cleaner product that you trust? And then when they order, they can get a discount and you get a little kickback from referring them. And I mean, people do that all the time.
Yeah.
So once I realized how simple it was, and once I tried the products, I mean, I loved them. And so I was telling people about it anyway. It's just like, one of my favorite restaurants is So Yummy. So I tell people about it,
Thank you.
So it's the same thing. It was like, well, I'm drinking this protein and I'm taking these vitamins and I'm drinking my fizz for energy and I feel great. And so, once they try it, they love it too. So
yeah, I think in here, when you hear MLM, there's a lot of organizations and companies out there that have not put it in the best light. Right. They focus so strongly on the sales aspect where they're just trying to close the deal so they can get to the next person to close the deal. And that was kind of like my experience. I got signed up. I say I got signed up. I willingly signed up for a MLM that they were focused on a single SKU. And I remember that moment that I was, because they bring you into this grand room and they tell you the story, and they're expert salespeople, right? Like I even remember like certain moments, and afterwards, like the thing in my mind was, man, I got sold, right? Like and
I never want anybody to feel that way.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so what I can tell here is that it's different. You are really trying to assist the people that you are working with.
Yeah, trying to solve a problem.
Yes, that's right. And what has that resulted in?
Well, right now we're in the middle of a 14-day reset. So we're really focused on nutrition and prioritizing protein and working out and eating our green vegetables. And so a lot of them, like one of my clients came up to the gym yesterday and gave me a big hug. She was like, thank you so much. My clothes are fitting different. I feel so much better. So, that we're in the middle of that. But that's the main point of it is to just help people feel better.
Yeah. I love this aspect. So you said that you are leading your entire Arbonne, community to go through this reset. Is that what I hear?
Yeah. So a lot of them are clients. Some are like my sisters. They're not even in my organization. They're just a good friend. So that's the other thing I love about it is the connections that I've made, like the friends. But like I have friends that live all over that I would have never met if I wasn't in Arbonne.
But all these people are doing the reset together?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's awesome. Is that something that Arbonne does as an organization, or is this something that you do?
Well, a lot of us coach people through. So there's a 30-day program. I decided to do a 14-day one because sometimes people have commitment issues with 30 days. So I was like, we'll do 14, and it's been going. And then my thought is they're going to feel so great, they're going to keep going.
Sure.
But 14 days is a little bit less commitment. But we have a Facebook group, and so I post in there. There's tons of recipes. We all share like, oh, this is my shake that I had this morning. This is my favorite. Or this was my lunch that I had today. And, we just share ideas and things like that. But we're really focused on staying hydrated, drinking water, your greens, your protein, like really just focusing on that. So,
and I think in here, that is one difference that I do see with Arbonne versus kind of like other MLMs is the sense of community.
Yeah.
The sense of community is huge, right?
Yeah.
Like we, as in this digital age of all of us are on our phones
Right.
and like looking at social media, I think it becomes even more important for that community to be built. We're almost seeking that out,
Yes.
right? The fact that you can, go on this path with other people around the world. World?
Yeah.
Or is it the U.S.?
Yeah. No, we're in other countries too. Australia, UK, Canada. We're expanding.
That's
So
awesome.
It's exciting.
That's super exciting. So, when did you get involved with that?
In Arbonne?
Uh-huh.
So I opened my account just for the discount in 2002.
Okay.
And I was like, my friend was very persistent. And I was like, I'm just going to try this stuff. If I don't like it, she said I can send it back. Like,
Sure.
That was my whole mentality. I was like, no, if I don't like this, I can send it back. She said yes. So I tried it. I was like, well, this stuff is actually pretty good. So then I started trying, different products. And the more I used, the more I liked it. And then I thought, well, if I told a few people about it, that would like offset my cost for my stuff.
Sure.
So I really just started like, hey, you want to try this? I really like this and this. Sure. And that's just where it went from there.
And it just took off.
Yeah.
During this process, how have you enjoyed growing with Arbonne?
Well, it's definitely helped me be more confident. And the focus really is on connecting with others. So that's a big part of it. I've had a lot more freedom.
Yeah, talk to me about that.
So when I'll probably tear up talking about my kids, but here we go. So I was able to stay home with my kids when they were young.
You wouldn't have been able to do that otherwise.
No.
No way.
Yeah. And Arbonne paid the bills, and I'll get it together in a minute, but
It's okay.
I love my kids, and I can never replace that, because when they're young, that's when you want to be with them, because then they grow up and they're gone. So anyway, sorry.
That is amazing. I don't often have that much emotion, but the fact that business and that opportunity has been so freeing for you,
Yeah.
I think is huge.
And that's why I think a lot of women, get into Arbonne, because they want that freedom too. And the income. Some people really love their job, but they just want extra income, or they really want to be home with their kids, and Arbonne is the way to replace their income so they can do that. There are just so many different people from so many walks of life in Arbonne. I love that I can work at part-time but make great income and still do all the other things, still a mom. Maddox is 16, Lonnie's 10. I can still do all those things and still have 2 successful businesses. I'm busy at the gym with my clients, but then I'm also, helping people get healthy there and through nutrition and coaching. And it's a lifestyle for us. Like, my kids even drink protein shakes at the house. So
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Talk to me about kind of like, as a trainer, do you have to have something that kind of helps supplement that income? Because that's what I hear, right? Like during this all process, it's like, Arbonne was the one that was really like freeing for me.
Yeah. Well, so I'll give you an example. I love training, but if something happens to me and I can't train, then that income stops. So after I had Lonnie, she was a newborn, I broke my ankle.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What were you doing?
I was walking through a yard.
No, you weren't.
It just snapped.
Oh, my goodness.
But so I was home with the newborn, and, I had to have surgery, which is good as new. I still run and do all the things. But I'm laid up on the couch with my foot propped up, laying there with Lonnie. She's the baby. And so obviously for, I don't know, at least 2 or 3 months, I really was not doing any group fitness or personal training. But what I had built from Arbonne, that income was still coming in. So otherwise I would have had zero.
Yeah.
Other than obviously Rob has income too, but me personally.
That's right. I think that's an interesting point, because as a trainer, and I think a lot of businesses sometimes think in this way, is, a business is really built around the team that, is able to kind of like assist, right? And so if you have to be there in order to create the income, what you really created is more of a job for yourself, right? And so there is a difference there. And I think that is some foresight that oftentimes business owners or trainers even don't see. For you, kind of how, once you have kind of like settled into Arbonne, and also kind of like your personal training, what is kind of like next on the horizon? Like, what other things are you looking towards?
So a few things.
Okay.
I am finishing up a holistic nutrition certification.
Okay.
So learning some new things with that. Really focusing on like we mentioned mind body. If somebody is eating all the right things but telling themselves that they're out of shape and overweight, then obviously there's going to be some self-sabotage that can work their way in. So really working through that and helping them just by, counseling them and giving them some solid advice. Also, I'm working towards a new promotion with Arbonne.
Okay. So
that is on the up and up too. And then I also have a website, motivatewithmindy.com.
Okay.
And that was created in 2020 when we really weren't doing as much face-to-face training. So I have on-demand workouts on there. And so now, moving forward, I would like to move more into that digital space, which is out of my comfort zone.
Is it?
But I'm okay with learning new things. So really working on that so that I can reach people outside of Bullitt County and the surrounding area, so that way they have, and even locally, I mean, some people can't make it to the gym. They need to work out at home. So these are workouts that they can do on their own time at home. Also working on some nutritional counseling programs, different things that I can do online just to help people get healthier.
You are doing so many things. One of the questions I have to ask is, where did the entrepreneurial spirit come from? Like, were your parents involved in any sort of business? Were they entrepreneurs themselves?
No,
not at all.
No, I don't like being told what to do.
Ooh, big facts.
I learned
big
that
facts.
Very, very early on. So yeah.
Can you give me an example of a story? Do you have any stories here?
Oh gosh, let me think. Okay, I worked as a pediatric dental assistant in a former life. When I moved to Charlotte, that's what I was doing. And then I was, you can't really teach group fitness full time because your body can't do it and you don't make that much money.
Sure.
So I was working as a dental assistant, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, I'm going on this cruise. Let's go." And I asked for the time off, and they wouldn't give it to me.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm out. I was like, I'm done. So I did not get to go on the cruise, but I gave my 2 weeks notice, and I moved home.
Yeah. And that's kind of like, okay.
So came here, started personal training, and then after I started doing that, that's when Arbonne came in. And in the back of my mind, I was, and I think she was a friend of mine too. She was a client and a friend of mine. I think she may have mentioned, what if you got hurt, or what if you couldn't train? And so that kind of planted that seed, and I was like, she's right. I mean, I believe we all need multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
My mom was a teacher. My dad worked at the lab at the hospital. They both worked very hard, retired, have done well for themselves. But my brother and I are both entrepreneurs.
Really? Was there something that kind of happened in childhood that encouraged that? Or did you see kind of like what he was doing? Or did you see, who was first in this game?
I was.
You were?
Yeah, I'm the oldest.
Yes.
So I think part of it too is school is set up to where you go to school, then you get out, you go to college, and then you get your degree, and then you get a job. Well, I had a really hard time narrowing down what I wanted to go to school for. Changed my major like 5 times.
Okay.
And then finally I was just like, I'm not doing this. I'm done.
What were the different majors? Do you remember?
Oh, gosh. Marketing.
Okay.
Something finance, which is crazy. I don't know why I chose that. Money? I don't know. Let's see what else. Health promotions. exercise science. Oh, first was biology because I thought I was going to.
Nursing?
No,
track?
I thought I was going to be a doctor.
Okay.
And then I was like, wait, I don't like to study. This is not going to work. So I knew I wanted to do something health related, and I wanted to teach people. So that's kind of where my parents come in. My dad was in the health field.
Sure.
Mom's a teacher. So, I mean, you know, they're in there. But I just, after a while, I was like, I can study for things. I can pass the certification, but I just, school, college track was not for me.
And then,
it's not for everybody.
So in here, you also mentioned dental, right? So like, did you then change to technical college in order to? So
in high school, I worked as a hygiene assistant.
Okay.
So I assisted the hygienist.
Okay, got you.
So then when I moved to Charlotte, I was a hygiene assistant and then dental assistant.
Got
so
you.
I was trained on the job.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
You can go to a Gitchy Tech or a technical school for that. And at one point, I thought I wanted to be a hygienist, but I'm glad I didn't do that.
I think what's interesting here is there's maybe some listeners out there that are going through maybe something similar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they have all of these, because, when you are younger, you have all these different options. When you're in college, you're not sure.
Yeah.
What maybe some advice would you have for them? Because you found your passion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like at the end of the day, you came out of this with, this is what I love doing.
Right.
What advice would you have for them in order to be able to achieve the same thing?
I think they have to try different things. Like when I was at the dentist office, I didn't hate it, but I knew I didn't want to do that forever. Mm. And so I tried different things just to see, okay, I do like this, but I don't want to do that. Like just narrowing it down. Working different jobs, working different places. I think that's a big part. I think a lot of people go to school and they're like, okay, I'm going to school. This is kind of like my job too. But I mean, if you can fit in working somewhere part-time, you learn a lot about what you're good at and what you're not.
That's great. With this, how are you able to juggle all of these different responsibilities, right? Because everything follows under this umbrella of like health and fitness, mm-hmm. right? But how are you able to kind of like devote time to your training, devote time to, Arbonne, devote time to all these other different projects that you have going on?
Scheduling.
Okay.
I have a little planner that I write in.
Okay.
I tried doing it on my phone. That does not work for me.
Okay.
So I have to write everything down.
Okay.
I even schedule in my workouts
mm-hmm.
because I have to get mine in too, or else it doesn't happen. So usually I'm an early bird getting
mm-hmm.
it done. But I'm a list maker. I have a certain schedule that I go by for personal training. That is one thing I will say for my fitness people is if you let your clients run your schedule, they will. So you have to figure out what days and times you're available, what you're willing to commit to. I'll have people say, well, you train me on a Saturday or Sunday? No, I'm sorry. Mm. If I want to go and work out, like maybe one Sunday, yeah, I'll meet you there. We'll work out. But I'm not committing to that every week because mm-hmm. that's my time with my family. Just a lot of it is just scheduling. Lonnie's in competitive cheer, so I feel like that's another part-time job. My husband Rob helps a lot. He picks up my slack if I need him to go pick up kids or, whatever. He's like, okay, I got it. So it's really a team effort.
Yeah. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yep, absolutely.
Do you have any kind of things that you find yourself always using to encourage the people that you're training? So one of the things I often kind of like, I'll give you an example. I love the phrase, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I love that is because, no matter if you are working out mm-hmm. or you are, at the job or whatever it is, mm-hmm. I want that person to always put, the same amount of effort into every single thing that they do. Right. That, to me, helps them achieve a standard of excellence, right? In training, that's oftentimes because you have like these moments when I'm imagining you in the class right now, just right. like walking around, do you have a mic?
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
So at our women's gym, it's a smaller room.
Okay.
And I'm kind of loud, so we don't need it.
So, but you are still kind of like encouraging people mm-hmm. to kind of like push through. Are mm-hmm. there any things that you try to give people in order for them to go the distance? Well,
this phrase comes to mind. So when we were in my bar class, a lot of times you're burning, your legs might be shaking a little bit, and I'll just say, smile if you're burning. And they all smile at me, and I'm like, okay, we're getting it. I'm like, we got this. But instead of them scowling at me, they're all smiling. So, smile is always better. But I just remind them that, you're here to get results. So let's do it, And a lot of times my classes are like 45 to 55 minutes. And I'll tell them, look, when you're here, go hard. Let's get it done. There's no reason that it has to be an hour.
That's right.
You can get it done in 45, 50, 55 minutes, and even less. Sometimes my strength workouts are 30 minutes just so I can get it done. But I'll tell them, if you go hard, you can get it done. And then you're out.
That's right.
45 minutes of your day. Let's go. So, and I think a lot of it, too, is just stress relief and the community and the culture, like all of us getting together and encouraging each other. And, I mean, most days we're cracking up laughing about something somebody said or did. And so, we keep it fun.
Talk to me about the women's gym. So I don't know if, the general Statesboro population knows that there is a women's gym in Statesboro.
Yep. So it's Empowher.
Okay.
We're 24/7, so you have key card access. We are staffed from 8 to 12 Monday through Saturday, and 4 to 7 or 4 to 8 Monday through Thursday evening. So that way, if people want to come in and check it out, we can give them a tour. It's all women. It's on Northside Drive. And it is owned by 180, but we're a separate entity. A lot of people don't realize that it's a totally separate gym.
Okay.
So we have group fitness classes there. We have treadmills, free weights, cables, machines, all the things.
With this, because there's that connection with 180, is there any crossover at any point, like in terms of like access between 180 and Empower? There is.
Yeah. So if you want, we have dual access, so you can access both gyms if you'd like. And some people do that because they have group fitness over there also. They have, different things that we don't have. And I love that. We're the sister gym to 180. And it's been a lot of fun. So I started there in 2021, and I had been, at 180 forever. When Gold's Gym became 180, like I went with them. So I do miss some of the people, and so sometimes I go to 180 just to work out and say hey to people. But I do love our women's gym. Like, you can't beat it. It's the culture. It's super clean. That's what a lot of people say. It doesn't smell in here. So yeah. But it's just a lot of fun. It's a great place to be.
Mindy, thank you so much for being an inspiration. Thank you for making Statesboro well. I do appreciate your time, and that's the show.
Thank you. Yay!
Boom.